invitation to join here as one of the speakers, a very dear person of mine said, "Oh, crime on women, that's your favorite subject." He probably kind of, teased me, but the point is, as Binalakshmi said, activists are not born. We are not born as activists from the mother's womb, but circumstances and situations are such that we have to take up issues when the time is right and when it is demanding from responsible citizens that the issues be addressed. As Saidul has introduced me, in a tribal society, even today, patriarchy rules the roost, and in fact, not only tribal, Arunachal or the tribal northeast, in most of the places in the rural areas, early marriage of girls are supposed to be like, the tradition. The girls hardly had any choice. But my good fortune, I say, is that I happened to be married to a person who stood by me and my desires to speak up for the voiceless women of Arunachal Pradesh. And that's how today the world sees me as a human right, as a women's rights, as a child rights activist. I come from the society where beating up a wife was even taken up by the state leaders in the August floor of the State Assembly of Arunachal way back in 1994 as part of disciplining your female spouse. In fact, I missed the opportunity to speak before the Governor of Assam and the Chief Minister of Assam, who have very kindly, in fact, signed their support for the pledge put up by Frontier TV and Manoranjana and her team. Assam is mentioned by Bina, and as all of us know, maybe because of the proliferation of media today, we get to see that lots of crimes against women are coming into public focus. And today, at least, the Governor of Assam and the Chief Minister of Assam has pledged their support to fight against crime on women. The topic given for our session is the role of state and the society, how to contain crime on women. My own experience as an activist, as a girl, as a daughter, as a wife, as a mother, and as a responsible citizen, has been to observe how we as leaders of the society behave with our children, especially, the children, boys and girls, when they are small, how they are treated. And everyone knows about it. It's not something new that I have got to say. But in some of the tribes in Arunachal, we still have forced marriages, we still have child marriages. One brother, he wanted to force his sister into a marriage, and when we intervened, this was much before the coming of the Women Commission in Arunachal, under the banner of the Arunachal Pradesh Women's Welfare Society, we were pursuing a case, and the brother, who was a Panchayat Parishad member, he said, "She's my sister, I can do anything with her." And as I mentioned, a husband was told, "Why don't you control your wife? She speaks too much in public places about patriarchy and all." We saw the performance, wonderful performance, which actually brought tears to my eyes by the Asmita group, the play called Dastak. It is a knock on the conscience of every thinking, feeling human being that we are supposed to be in the society. How do we deal with another human being? That is very important. When we are saying crime on women, I haven't read the 600 pages Justice Verma Commission report, but the excerpts that have come out, it also talks about the women who are forced into prostitution, who have been actually left out in the Justice Verma Commission report. this is something which we all have to talk about. There are transgenders who are perhaps not identified practically as women, but who are also part of our society, of our world today. Their needs also, the issue about their protection also needs to be talked about. We are also looking at a globalized economy, a globalized market, which is opening up to the people of Northeast. And India today is seen as the largest market next only to China, but China again has taken over the markets all over the world, and it is itself looking for markets. And the Northeast women, especially the slit-eyed, the so-called chinky women, are perhaps being targeted today in the world job market. When we are talking about job market, it's also part of human trafficking that's going on and on which we don't have much records as of today. There is not much of database. We need to look at those also. How many organizations, how many departments of respective state governments are working on it. I have worked as chairperson of the Women Commission in Arunachal Pradesh. I have been associated with the child welfare committees. I'm in fact heading the Indian Council of Child Welfare in Arunachal Pradesh for the last 2 years. And we have been talking about the human rights concerns. And in fact, right now, Bina also mentioned, even the governor of Assam mentioned about the Armed Forces Special Powers Act. When we are looking at the concerns on crime against women, we have been given the responsibility to share our thoughts about the role of the state and the society. I would like to also mention here, there is a third party here, the non-state actors, who are perpetrators of crime against women also. When we have state actors like the police or the armed forces or government officials and officers who violate the human rights of women in different capacities, we are also looking at our family members, our relatives, our neighbors and friend circles, or even unknown strangers when they are violating the rights of women or they are committing crimes against women. I would also like to, as a Northeast person, mention about how non-state actors like the militant organizations, how they have been mushrooming. Actually, many of the observers and academicians and critics call it the small-scale industry in the Northeast today. Our own brothers, our own relations, our own young sons, they are taking up arms, and the governments are being, justifying the presence of armed forces in the Northeast, whereas both armed forces personnel and also the non-state actors, because of whom the governments are justifying the presence of the armed personnel.